on an annual basis.
But I guess my question
But even
was,
if we did 2 a year,
Yeah.
how much do we have budgeted for something like this?
We have basically enough to cover one house built into the budget.
5,000 to 6,000 evidently.
5,000 to 6,000, about $6,000.
And what are we talking to get rid of that eyesore downtown?
That shoe store building?
Yeah.
If we didn't receive any funds for it, if the city took it on and did it all itself and paid for all of it, I put our estimates at somewhere between $25,000 and $40,000.
And so are we going to just keep discussing this every meeting? Every time we get together, the same thing comes up, and we're not doing anything about it. Well, how does the council feel about this? Or do they have a feeling?
Well, the last time the council discussed it was about 1.5 years ago, and they voted to take no action on it. They didn't not act, they voted to take no action on it.
Well, I guess maybe there's no sense in us discussing it. If the council doesn't want to discuss it or take any action, why are we?
Well, my smaller communities put money from their local option sales tax into this and take care of their older buildings downtown. And I don't know if it's going to take a movement of sorts to come in and say to the council, we are sick of this. You know, how many years are we going to discuss this, and how many buildings are going to continue to fall down around us before you take action? Yeah.
that one too.
So, well, the one by the VFW everywhere, and it's, you know, and last winter was hard on them.
It was
This winter was hard on them.
terrible.
It's not good. We need to do something. Somebody's got to step up to the plate, and if
The commercial buildings are the expensive ones.
Yes.
Because
The
they
whole
require
part.
this asbestos
Sure.
inspection and removal, whereas the residence doesn't.
But the city is able to apply for at least 50% funding of the removal of asbestos from these commercial buildings too.
Wasn't that what was discussed in that email we got?
Yeah, from the Brownsfield Act.
Mm-hmm.
So they are the only eligible applicant. So I think we're to the point where here's all these things, and if we don't do anything, nobody else can do it. The city has to be the one.
To give the council the opportunity to even entertain the idea of being able to do something at this cost, we have started the process of applying for, you might have seen a recent email about another grant opportunity that was just approved roughly 2 weeks ago. It's a joint activity between DNR and Keep Iowa Beautiful, and they're offering grants as much as $15,000 per applicant for the tearing down of dilapidated buildings.
And so the council approved the application for this grant?
They have not, no.
Okay. They haven't even discussed it?
No.
Is that the one that has an August deadline also?
Yes.
Isn't it an August 20th deadline, or?
That's all right.
Yeah. I mean, it's not uncommon in my type of role to apply for a grant during the process without having a situation where the council has fully committed to a project.
Oh, just whether or not then you get it
Right.
and then they act.
Right. For instance, we'll put money aside to approve to spend money on a fire truck. Well, if we don't get the FEMA grant, we don't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, just because you commit to your side or you don't commit to your side, to even have the window of opportunity even available to you, you have to have meet the deadlines for the applications.
Well, it's pretty embarrassing to have something like that on your main street and to have people recognize some of these things falling down. So somebody's going to have to take an issue and start moving, whether it's us or somebody else. So.
Who else would do it?
Well, you know, I guess
I
we
think
don't
it's in our
have
board.
We don't have any authority.
any
We
don't have
authority to
authority.
do it. It has to be the city.
All we can do is make the suggestions, which we.
Forcefully make a suggestion, huh?
So do we all talk to the council members? And
I would suggest that this group insist on the council putting it on their agenda to discuss. What are they going to do with it? What are you going to do?
I think
we sit down, and basically in the downtown district, there's 4 buildings. Really. There's Matt's, there's Willie's, there's Sunwise, VF, and the Boy Scout building, or Wiley's, whatever we want to call it.
And there's a couple more now.
And there's a couple, yeah, that are
By
very
Culver's,
close. Yes, very close.
In fact, 5th and Main, southwest corner of the intersections, starting to look a little tough.
Yep.
So
and
it's,
Pink Floyd and,
I know Dwayne's been in there since Sunday, so I don't know what he's doing in there.
I guess maybe what we need to do is show up with the business district and everybody else and say, you you can keep putting this off if you want, but it's getting pretty bad. How long are you gonna put up with this? I'm sure Dale's on the chamber board. I mean, we've talked about some of these things before too, about trying to make something better. And
Well, I guess it really concerns me is we signed that building. Then we had people go in there to put up the facade for the reunion, which I think was good.
so nobody could see it.
Right, so nobody could see it. But maybe we should have had it open so people could have seen it, where maybe some of our alumni would think of the foundation or, hey, maybe, I don't know. Terry was in there today. I was in there right after the roof went in. It's not safe.
Well, it's not.
And I guess that's what I was thinking. Is there some way with this sanitary and health issue or whatever, because of the mold and everything that's going to start, that we can do something?
I guess my comment is, it doesn't just affect you
No.
or the businesses
It affects
downtown.
anybody
it
walking by
affects
on the street.
Everybody in the community.
Yes.
And
Right.
the part I don't
Is that
understand
right, Adam?
That is definitely a
Okay.
valid.
It affects everybody in the community.
The
And
value
as
of
far
all
as
our
I'm
property.
concerned, the council is here to protect everybody in the community. And they ought to at least discuss it if there's nothing they can do about it. At least discuss it, not just put it off.
I think there's something
Because-
they can do about it. They just have to do
Well,
it.
that's right.
But thinking they're going to go back on some limited liability corporation to be reimbursed isn't going to happen. But if you tear these things down, you do open up that piece of property for hopefully some future development. If you leave it the way it is, you're not going to get any tax money off of it. It's going to continue to fall down. All the buildings around it are going to start looking shabby. What are you going to get? What do you gain at leaving it the way it is? I haven't figured that out yet.
Well, it's come to the part, I can't work on the west side of my building. I can do no improvements on the west side of my building.
Yeah.
Can't get to it.
I can't get to it.
We can use everything we want to for an excuse.
So don't you have any legal recourse?
Or he wants to expend his hard-earned money to
Yeah.
sue the city to get it done, when the city's has their own code of ordinances that says they have to do it?
Yeah.
Did you sue them? Wenzel?
Now with the limited liability corporation.
that's one of the things we went to Colin about. You're just,
We've talked about this for 3-4 years now. There's nothing we can do.
Since I've been on here right
Yeah.
as
How long
Colin
have you
has
been,
got
Chris?
something.
Well,
I have heard recently that the SDC is actually working on some form of an alternative option, an alternative plan here.
What are they going to use for money?
I don't know.
How can they do it? They can't apply for anything.
I don't know all the details, so I
Yeah, I got invited to a meeting
SDC.
next month in that regards.
Who's this?
Tech Development Corporation.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, maybe it's time we get the people in this community that have a great good company.
Well, the council might be more inclined if they realize how many people are upset about it.
I guess, and to get away from the situation, it's no different than the buildings that Terry served last year that aren't complete. We drive up and down the street and we see this not happening. And I think we're getting worse than when we started our program of getting things done.
Where are we at now?
Let's start out here on Park Avenue. First 2 houses on the north side of the road. You served bomb over last year.
Yep.
Still no siding on the garage.
We can't serve for siting.
They serve for the whole.
We serve for the
Hole on the roof,
dangerous
okay.
building, and they put new rafters
Okay.
on and shingled it
Okay.
and got it to code.
Okay.
And he says he's gonna second.
Okay.